Hello everyone and welcome to the Blunderbuss Reviews cast.
Thing.
It's a podcast that we do because when we have nothing else to talk over, but we still feel like talking, because we know that we're very interesting internet personalities.
Talking is not done until we say it is done.
So we don't really have any set topics for this kind of.
We've literally nothing down. It's just us.
It is just us bullshitting our way through things. But I already have a thing to talk about. New movies coming out. That's pretty much what we talked about on the other podcast we did about 3 years ago. This is the sequel to that. If you enjoyed that, all 3 people that listened to it.
Yeah.
So, this year's pretty much a big, kind of year for superhero films. Both in terms of ones being filmed and ones that are coming up.
Yeah. Lots of stuff happening.
Mini cheddars have just eaten.
You had one. Not even mini cheddars, they're like little own brand mini cheddars. They were pretty great.
Because you're worthless. So let's talk about kind of like where are we with superhero films? Do you think that the genre's still got some legs in it, or do you think it's kind of?
It has. It's becoming very saturated though.
I think that's the perfect word. Like, did you like Age of Ultron? Because to me, that is the example when it started to get a little bit saturated.
I did like it. I enjoyed it, but I know what you mean. You notice it now.
It's not as memorable.
It's not as new, and they don't have these fresh ideas. I don't know. I think because the genre's been around for so long now, we're all sort of just like, oh, okay.
It's nearly 10 years. Nearly 10 years it's been out. I remember Steven Spielberg said something really interesting about it as well, that it was going to go the way of the Western. Because remember, Westerns were popular for about 15 years, and then people just got tired of them. So that is kind of a worry a little bit, especially because did you hear what the Disney CEO said recently? He said Star Wars and Marvel are going to go on forever. He said there is no plan to finish them. Like, think about that. Imagine every year we get a new Star Wars and Marvel film. Every year.
You couldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't do that, filming wise.
You could, or it would literally just be utter
shit.
Tripe.
That's
manufactured to make money.
That is the only reason. Let's be honest. But like, I like the idea of a continuing universe. But the problem with Marvel is because they're using the same characters, it's a bit harder to find new things to do with them. It's one of the problems that I have with Iron Man as a character. Iron Man's great, and Robert Downey Jr. nails it, but he hasn't really changed that much.
No.
He hasn't changed until Civil War, because something I like about Civil War is when you think Tony Stark, you think rebel, you think he's an utter rebel compared to everyone else, and when you think Cap, you think he's a Boy Scout. Yeah. Civil War flips that dynamic around, because Tony has seen what happens when he is left to his own devices. He needs regulation. But Cap has seen that with too much regulation, then it becomes a fascist thing. So I like the fact they've flipped those dynamics, and they've done it totally naturally as well.
It's something could work well. Interesting.
And it feels like something that they've had this idea for a long time. I feel like, because I remember a time when they weren't going to use Robert Downey Jr. in that film. That would not have worked, because you need 2 characters that you've been rooting for years.
It'd be awful.
And that is probably one of the things I'm looking forward to most this year in terms of films.
Yeah.
People will know, if you've been watching my channel, the film I'm looking forward to most involves a big panda. That is about it. But I think by the time this comes out, the film might be out.
I don't know. We might just upload this at any time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be massively outdated, so we're probably going to have to use it soon.
Sort of other ones. There's the Civil War's a big hype for us. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Definitely up there.
And something I like, they've only released 1 trailer.
That's good.
Now, compare that to Batman vs Superman, which is about 1 million trailers and loads of TV spots.
I'll try to forget about that film.
We'll get into that next. Next month is Deadpool. Have you seen anything to do with that? Apart from that 1 trailer we've seen.
There's been a few now, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Looks pretty cool.
I'll say this about Deadpool. I don't like Deadpool as a character. The problem is, if he hasn't got the right writer, he's obnoxious and annoying. Don't you dare say that's part of his character. That is not how you write a character. You can make a character be obnoxious to the other characters, but don't make me think that he's obnoxious. Spider-Man is how you do that properly. He's obnoxious to every other character, and a lot of characters don't like him because he's annoying. But the readers like him because he's hilarious. The problem with Deadpool is that they don't really have this distinction sometimes. I think Ryan Reynolds is good casting for that. I think that's going to be an enjoyable film, no matter if it's good or bad. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, does look good.
However, I'm just not really a Deadpool fan, and I think this has really got to try and convince me that this character can work in any kind of format. I despise the Deadpool game. I thought it was utter wank, and it just wasn't funny.
I didn't know that existed.
There you go. There's one funny joke in that entire film when he keeps punching Wolverine to wake him up, but it's not really that funny after an hour of it. That's the marketing for that has been really funny though. Have you seen the marketing campaign?
They've done pretty great with that.
The romantic one, holy shit, I love that one. And the 12 Days of Deadpool they did over Christmas. That was really funny.
It's one of the best sort of marketing things that have been done, as long as they don't sort of spunk all their money on it.
No. That's what I think I heard once. Ryan Reynolds say they cut the budget a little bit to make room for the marketing because they said the thing is about trying to sell this is you want to sell the character. So Ryan Reynolds was like he agreed to shoot so many promo things. So like for basically for every major holiday or every major event in the calendar leading up to the release, Deadpool had a little short dedicated to it where he would just react to things. So like he has a little short dedicated to talking about.
Wait, no, you can't use that word.
What?
React.
We'll get to that in a minute as well. Where he was dissing Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. He was dissing. He was basically just dissing him and his character. I love that, and making fun of other things in that, like making fun of other Marvel properties and stuff like that was pretty cool. But I think the problem I really don't like about Deadpool is the amount of people that think he's the best written character of all time. He is not the best written character of all time.
Probably.
I don't find that kind of fourth wall humour funny unless it's done in sparingly. And if he is basically one fourth wall joke that has been going for about 30 years now. So so that's kind of a mixed thing for us, I think, because you're not really familiar with the character.
Not at all.
It doesn't really look that interesting.
Something very interesting about it though.
Go on.
Just through the marketing, like my dad, not massive on superhero films, he's seen a trailer for that and he said he wants to see it.
So I took a drink of tea there. If you wonder what the pause was. That's kind of interesting.
It's interesting to think. It must be how it's marketed or just the content.
Well,
that's not his thing at all usually.
It's not another superhero film, is it? Because he's not really a hero. He's a dick in a mask, which is kind of the point of the character. But I kind of enjoy the fact that to make it stay fresh, they've had to use some lower tier characters. Like Deadpool is a pretty low tier character. Ant-Man.
Don't need to see that.
Iron Man is pretty low tier as a character. He used to be anyway.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Thor used to be pretty low tier. And basically, all the characters in those Avengers films are low tier characters compared to Spider-Man, Batman, Superman.
It's pretty much sort of the main thing, isn't it? Really, Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman.
Some of the X-Men. Wolverine's a huge guy. Now, do you want to talk about Spider-Man in Civil War quickly? No, since we just mentioned him.
Go on.
Are you looking forward to Spider-Man in Civil War? Has it been too little time since the last Spider-Man thing? Do you think?
I don't know if it's that. It's just a bit... I don't know. Are we ready? Oh, I guess maybe. Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the character because it is Marvel back doing that character pretty much. And I want to see their take on it. What I have seen of it, I'm not really that hype on. His costume is apparently a hoodie with basically with a spider on it, and I'm like, yeah, I can see him getting a new costume by the end of that. But
yeah, sounds a bit strange.
And Tony Stark is apparently going to make his web shooters, which I'm fine with. It didn't really, but I've heard really big hate for that though, because they're like. Basically, the reason why people hated the natural ones in the Raimi films are like, oh, Peter's not smart if he doesn't make them. But then you watch Amazing Spider-Man and you're like, oh, Peter makes them. I guess he's smart. He just makes those for like no reason in the original Amazing Spider-Man. There's no reason for him having them. But I am interested to see the actor they've picked. I like him. I think he's cool, and he looks like he could do a good Spider-Man. It's just going to be interesting to see him against Iron Man and Cap. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's the thing I enjoy most in any Avengers film is the characters bouncing off of each other. The action, yes, okay, I guess. Like
once you've sort of seen this,
Yeah. Once I've seen Iron Man flying about, I've kind of seen it. Seeing these characters bounce off each other is never not going to be funny. Especially, I mean, like I like Age of Ultron, but let's be honest, the best thing about that film is them at that farm. That is the best. That is the best part of the entire film. That or the party bit at the beginning, because that is just gold line after gold line.
Yeah.
That bit when Don Cheadle's like telling that story, is like, drop the tank from him, boom, you're looking for this, and they're like, oh, was that a War Machine story? Yeah, it's good for a War Machine story. And then he tells it to the other people, and they're all laughing at it, and he just looks at Tony like, yeah, War Machine story. That's what I love about that. It's kind of cool. Yeah, we're pretty excited for Civil War. I don't like the comic it's based on, though. I think the comic it's based on is utter shit. I have talked about it in the past. Mark Millar's not a very good comic book writer. It is the ultimate in style over substance. There is nothing to those characters that he writes. Apart from Wolverine, I think he's pretty good at Wolverine. He kind of understood what the guy was about and gave him some really cool moments. Especially the story Enemy of the State, where he gets brainwashed by some ninjas and pretty much kills everyone. It's
Nice.
pretty awesome. Next is... Oh no, before that, actually we skipped a film, didn't we?
Did we?
Batman vs Superman comes out in March.
See, that's just me trying to forget about it.
So, what is your problem with Batman vs Superman? Basically, just sum up.
Well, obviously, there's the fact that it's going to be a massive clusterfuck. We're chucking as much into it as possible.
Yeah, I agree. That is a problem.
Ben Affleck's going to be a bit...
Really?
I'm still not hooked on that.
I wasn't until I saw him in the suit. Then I was like, no, he looks pretty cool, actually.
Costume's not enough to swing it, I don't think.
Nah, the costume looks a little goofy to me. It feels like they're trying way too hard to not do their own thing. And something I thought was really hilariously stupid is doing a Dark Knight Returns adaptation. Because The Dark Knight Returns is meant to be one of the last stories featuring Batman, and they're doing it as one of the first Superman
Pretty
stories.
derpy.
Yeah.
And then, based on my experience with Man of Steel, it's sort of hard to have high expectations.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Boring, the film. No, there are some cool things in Man of Steel, but it is very washed out.
The first time we saw it was alright then. It was quite cool.
It was a funny time, because we were just making fun of it all the time. Do you not
I
like
later realised that, you kind of ruined my birthday by making me go and see that film. I'm joking.
Do you not like Henry Cavill as Superman?
It's just boring.
Do you think that's his fault, though, or
Probably the writing thing.
is Zack Snyder... I think it's Zack Snyder's fault.
Probably.
Because let's be honest, he makes good comic book adaptations. Watchmen is a great adaptation of that comic book. However, it also comes with all the same problems as the comic book Watchmen, in that it goes on for too long sometimes, and especially in Snyder's version, changes things that didn't really need to be changed. Like, he changes the ages of the characters where it is like kind of dumb.
It's a bit strange.
So I'm kind of looking forward to Batman vs Superman. Now, you can't deny the first trailer for the first proper trailer was amazing.
Oh yeah, it looked good, but
The second trailer was awful.
that shows what it's really going to be.
And totally killed any enthusiasm I had. What they should have done is release that first trailer and left it. But they have constant TV spots now, just constant bullshit being thrown at audiences. They've shown pretty much most of the twists in that film.
It's sort of pointless then.
The fact that Doomsday is in that film is why. Why add
Who
Doomsday?
isn't in that film?
Oh,
Us, that's who isn't in it. Why aren't we?
Sorry, did you not get the call from Zach?
No. Oh.
Oh. I'm going to edit this out. I don't want you to hear some play. I get upset. You won't be able to edit it then because your tears will be staying on the keyboard. Now the problem with having Doomsday as a character is Doomsday is only famous for one thing. It's the exact same thing that Bane is only famous for one thing. Bane is only famous for breaking Batman's back. So when he appears in a story, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
So in Dark Knight Rises, as soon as Bane was announced, I'm like, okay, they're going to break his back at some point. Because that is the only reason that character exists. They did kind of some cool things with Bane in the Dark Knight Rises, and Tom Hardy gave a great performance. But also they had to do the Bane story. They had to break his back and have him come back and kick his ass.
Yeah.
Now, Doomsday, I bet you money right now they kill Superman, because Doomsday is only famous for killing Superman.
Okay.
He has no other character traits besides killing Superman. That's not even a character trait. The story in which he kills Superman is stupid anyway, because it's called The Death of Superman, and they just beat each other to death in front of like the Daily Planet. I'm like, okay, that was a story, I guess. Yeah. And also Doomsday looks like the cave troll from Fellowship of the Ring. Just gonna say that, and his animation looks worse than that.
Lovely.
Just put that in perspective. Fellowship of the Ring came out 15 years ago, and it looks better than only called Man of Steel, than Batman vs Superman. It has elements in it that I'm going to enjoy. Jeremy Irons as Alfred, are you for fucking real? Fuck yeah. Ben Affleck, I think, can do a good Batman. His Bruce Wayne, he's got to sell me on that. Batman, he looks cool, he looks the part, he's muscular as shit, he looks scary, and his voice is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's just got to do some... I think another problem with it is that the making the characters so much older when they meet is you're kind of ruining any chance of a Justice League thing.
How much further can you go forward with this sort of series?
Well, Batman is supposed to be in his late 40s in Batman vs Superman. I'm like, oh, right, why? Why? What is the point? Apart from having the Dark Knight Returns symbolism, what is the actual point of making him so old? Contrasting him with a younger Clark Kent, what is the point in that? There's no story thing that I can get out of that personally just listening to it. So, overall, not excited for it?
Nope. Basically.
Fair enough. Okay, the next superhero film coming out is actually Doctor Strange in November.
Yeah, that's after that.
What do you think?
I have quite high hopes for that at the moment.
What do you think? Do you know anything about the character?
A tad. Nothing major.
Do you know his backstory?
Not a lot.
What do you know about it? Apart from Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be in it.
That's most about what I know about the film at the moment, to be honest. That's a bit.
Okay, basically, Stephen Strange is the world's leading neurosurgeon. He gets into a car crash, breaks his hands and damages them so he can no longer perform surgery. Falls into a deep depression, then out of pure desperation, goes for a hike in the mountains, basically. I think in one interpretation wants to kill himself, which is a little dark. I hope they do that in the film, though, because that'd be a nice kind of dark place to take it. And he stumbles across a temple where he learns sorcery from his master. I can't remember what his master's called.
Right.
And he uses his powers as the Sorcerer Supreme to fight off demons and magic and shit. I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to see a good version of Doctor Strange. He's not really he's quite a lower tier Marvel character.
Yeah.
But apparently Kevin Feige is a huge fan of Doctor Strange. And Kevin Feige is pretty much the head of Marvel films at this point.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool that Strange is getting some kind of love because he's a cool character. And Benedict Cumberbatch is going to kill it. Those pictures of him are amazing. He is Doctor Strange. I've never seen anybody, not since J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, just nail the look of that.
It's very rare to get it sort of spot on.
Okay, maybe Robert Downey Jr. He just looks like Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I think it's going to be interesting. This could be the next Guardians on our hands. And remember, Guardians is basically a character that nobody had heard of.
Yeah.
That became awesome. So I think they could do the same thing for Doctor Strange.
Hopefully. I do still like the whole idea of sort of expanding it, and it's nice bringing these unknown characters out to people, but then, obviously, arguing the other side of it, then it sort of gets lost.
Yeah.
It's not such a little thing.
One of the things that I'm kind of excited for is in the future, when they have more these established characters like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Daredevil, they might have a little team up in Marvel Knights, because the Marvel Knights are Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Iron Fist and Shang-Chi. And I'm like, that's an awesome comic book storyline. Can we please do it? That's about the street level superheroes. The superheroes that are fighting around neighbourhoods to clean them up. Not like Captain America who's going off to different planets to fuck shit up, basically. Speaking of street level superheroes, Daredevil Season 2 is out the same day as Batman vs Superman.
Oh, okay.
I would much rather watch Season 2 of Daredevil than Batman vs Superman, I'm going to be totally honest. You haven't seen Season 1, have you?
Not yet, no.
No joke, the best thing that Marvel has done since the original Iron Man. They totally took that character and just made him into something so cool and so grounded. Let me paint a picture for you. Daredevil, there's a scene where a guy gets his head fucking decapitated with a fucking car door.
Nice.
It takes it violence to a whole nother level. It's an 18 rated show, especially for Marvel. That's kind of impressive. I like the fact they're dedicated to bringing that character back to his grittiness. Like Daredevil is famous for being quite a gritty character, and I like the idea that they're willing to alienate mainstream people to bring this character to life.
Yeah,
that takes some balls. It really does.
Makes a change instead of sort of watering stuff down.
They actually said that they're using the Netflix series to test the water to bring the character back into films.
All right.
So like season 2 has got the Punisher in it. Are you aware of what the Punisher is?
A bit, I know.
He's the most violent character in any fucking comic book. There's a scene in the new season apparently where he's hung up criminals by their backs in a fucking meat place and is torturing them.
Nice.
Marvel, everybody.
Yeah.
The same universe where a big green rage monster can punch a thunder god and everybody laughs. Again, I like the balls they're showing by doing this. It's kind of refreshing to see. Jessica Jones was also awesome, and again, another lower tier character nobody liked until that series. And I just got to say, David Tennant as Kilgrave, are you for fucking real? Fuck yeah. And Christian Ritter, who plays Jane in Breaking Bad, is the main character.
Alright.
She's fucking awesome.
Nice.
Actually, speaking of the Netflix Marvel stuff, they've got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, season 2 Daredevil's coming out. They've got Luke Cage coming out this year. Is it? Yeah, Luke Cage coming out this year.
Yeah.
They've got Iron Fist that's going to start soon. And then next year, they're doing a team up of all 4 of those characters to make the Defenders. So it's got its own little crossover thing going on beneath the Avengers. And then when Infinity War comes out, maybe we'll see all those characters in there.
It's pretty cool. It's nice that they're sort of bringing stuff, the TV. I know it's through Netflix. It's essentially TV, though. You get a sort of complete different feel to it compared to these movies. I guess that makes it more different and interesting, keeps the genre going.
It has fresh ideas in it as well.
Yeah.
Like, when you watch Daredevil, you're not expecting this guy to be superhuman. The guy gets the shit kicked out of him many, many times. And is near death many times. The guy takes his lumps. So, like, it is refreshing. Because, like, when Iron Man gets hurt, Tony has a cut or two, but he doesn't look like he's actually in pain. When Daredevil gets hurt, the guy is in absolute agony. You can feel every punch. You can feel like he's really suffering to do good. And that is refreshing as hell. They're actually, depending on how well Punisher does in season 2, they might be doing a Punisher Netflix series. Fuck yes. That guy has had 2 films and neither of them have worked that well. A Netflix series where he needs to go, because if you can do a series that is R-rated, is about him killing and maiming and just doing all these horrible things, then you have he's a good character and you can do some interesting things with it.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the idea as well, because in the original Punisher stories, he was a Vietnam War veteran. You can't really do that no more because it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Having him be an Afghanistan War veteran would be cool, because it would tie in socially. It would make the character a bit more relatable for some people.
Yeah.
And it would help flesh him out. It would help explain why he's so radical, why he and bodacious, and why he would he wants to do all these horrible things.
Yeah, it brings it up a bit.
I'm excited for the future of Marvel. I think they're going in some interesting places. The problem is their reliance on the old stuff, like using Iron Man over and over again, and Cap. Well, Cap not so much, because let's be honest, the first Cap film's just okay. Winter Soldier is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier made that character way more interesting than he had any right to be. And I just think they need to keep doing more interesting things. There's a Spider-Man film coming out next year. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yeah, a Marvel Spider-Man film.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody knew.
That's hidden.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird.
Please call it Spectacular Spider-Man. Please! Don't call it Amazing Spider-Man or just Spider-Man. Please use one of his old titles, which are fucking great. Actually, did you know there's actually... we were saying about Spider-Man and we were saying about Daredevil and that. In the comics, Spider-Man and Daredevil are best friends. Now, I really wanted them to see Spider-Man maybe make a cameo in some Daredevil episodes to try and establish that friendship that they have. Part of Sony's deal with Marvel is that he does not appear in any TV shows. I don't know why.
That's good. Well done.
He can only appear in feature films and he cannot be a cameo. He has to have a main role in those films. So Tom something, I can't remember what his second name is. He is scheduled to be in 4 films, including Civil War. So he's got Civil War, his own film. So I'm thinking it's the next 2 Avengers films.
Probably, something like that, yeah.
Or Avengers and maybe a starring role in someone else's film. So the next Marvel film after that is, I believe... Yeah, because... Oh yeah, starting from 2017 we're going to have 3 Marvel films a year. What do you think about that?
It's good, but slightly, I don't know, concerning. That's like quite a big aim.
The 3 films next year... so this year it's Civil War and Doctor Strange. Next year... Oh, I hate you so much. Okay, next year is the Spider-Man film, like I just said.
Yeah.
4-3 and
Ooh.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No, 4-3 has the Hulk in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
that would be cool. Come on. It's basically going to be a buddy cop road trip between Thor and Hulk. It sounds fucking great.
This is the whole sort of oversaturation thing, though. 3 films a year.
Yeah.
How long does that format last for?
Well, they said...
start to lose interest.
They said what they want to do is do 1 sequel and 2 original characters that you haven't done.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool. So, like, if they did... So, for example... actually, I'm going to grab the schedule of their films. Just to help you.
Go for it, and I'll try to stop yawning.
It's alright. Have you drunk your tea?
I did.
All of it?
Yeah. I think it's worn off.
Okay.
Oh, dear. Let's make a cut here.
I think this is going alright so far.
Yeah. It's easy just to do something like this every now and then.
Okay. So the schedule is Phase 1... Well, that's right. Phase 1, we've done that. Phase 2 is now done with Ant-Man finishing.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, here we go. Okay. Phase 3 is Civil War and Doctor Strange this year. Yeah. Guardians is first next year.
Cool.
So that comes out in May next year.
Oh.
Then Spider-Man in July. So May, June, July. That's only 2 months. That's kind of a bit.
Yeah.
Then a couple of months after that is 3 in November 2017.
Okay.
Then in 2018 we have Black Panther, which I like the idea of. Ant-Man 2 and Avengers Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah.
2019 is Captain Marvel, Inhumans and Avengers Part 2. So when you get to kind of 2019, you start getting newer characters like Captain Marvel and the Inhumans.
Yeah.
The Inhumans have actually been introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm really not a fan of. So it's kind of interesting they're doing that. Maybe some Daredevil films in the future.
It's interesting, yes.
I don't know. I don't think they could do many Daredevil things because, like, they're using a lot of his big storylines in the TV show.
That's the thing, they use all up and sort of what's left.
Do their own. I'm just looking on Wikipedia. They said it is now the highest-grossing franchise in US history, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it said, yeah, the franchise has been seen as impressive and groundbreaking in terms of multimedia, and I agree that is quite groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Though critics have found that some of its films have suffered in service of the wider universe. I totally agree with that.
Fair enough.
Which is why I find Ant-Man so refreshing, because Ant-Man has basically has a cameo from the Falcon, and it mentions the Avengers a few times, but it is not about the Avengers. It is about a totally new character. And there's actually a reference to Spider-Man in that film, because they put it in when they were they were filming that, and basically the Spider-Man deal went through, and he says something like he says his name's Ant-Man, and so I was like, we have a guy who's in a big suit of armor, we have a guy with a magic hammer, we have a guy who can climb up walls. Yeah. Do we really need an Ant-Man? And I'm like, Peyton Reed, director of Ant-Man, you're speaking to my heart. Spider-Man is still my favourite Marvel character, so to see him with Iron Man and Cap,
Basically, they don't cock it up.
They probably won't, let's be honest. You can't cock it up as badly as Sony did. Who could not get that character more wrong. Your look on your face is just like, shut the fuck up.
No, I'm just leaving it there. There's no point doing it now, because,
Stop talking
we
about...
might as well talk about this in a later date, so we don't spoil it.
Stop talking about the film that I watch every night before I go to bed.
Oh yes, I wank into the case.
Onto Spider-Man's mask.
So that's what holds it on.
Are you busting your webs all over his face?
Daily.
So...
That's Marvel. Anyway, that'll do. What else?
Actually, do you want me to show you the DC schedule? Their one's pretty fucking ludicrous.
Go on then.
It's not as intense as Marvel's one because
imagine not.
Because they started quite.
They know when they are.
Okay, Man of Steel. That's already come out.
Woo!
Remember, in 3 years they had one film, which is Man of Steel. Now think of this for fucking saturation. Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad, both this year.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Justice League, The Flash, and Aquaman in 2017.
Yeah.
Shazam, Justice League Part 2, Cyborg, Shazam and Justice League Part 2 is 2019. Cyborg is 2020, as is Green Lantern Corps. Another Batman film is coming out. For Ben Affleck's thing. And they have a bunch of they have a lot. See, the thing with DC stuff is it's mainly them saying, "Oh, we want to do this. Oh, we want to do that." Whereas Marvel just announce it.
Yeah.
Which I love that. I love the fact that Black Panther has not been shown in any single film yet because he's going to first appear in Civil War. They announced a Black Panther film before showing any footage of him. The confidence of that is amazing.
Really great.
And again, it's something that I respect Kevin Feige for is the fact that he knows how to keep it fresh. He knows that audiences want to see something new. And Black Panther, he is totally different from someone like Iron Man or Cap. He is a king of a nation.
It's different, yeah.
He has his own problems to deal with. And it's going to be directed by Ryan Coogler? Let me just check.
You have a look at that.
He's going to be doing Black Panther. He did the film Creed, the Rocky spin-off, which was fucking great, and he did Fruitvale Station, also fucking great. So he's basically 2 for 2 at the minute. His next film's going to be Black Panther, and then he's doing another film with Michael B. Jordan. Every single film he's done has starred Michael B. Jordan, apart from Black Panther, which has Chadwick Boseman? Yeah, Chadwick Boseman, who I think is perfect. I think he's going to do really, really well as Black Panther. I like the look of the Black Panther costume so far. I think it looks pretty... Do you remember what it looks like?
Not particularly.
I'll find it quick. That is what they want it to look like.
Okay.
That's quite unique and different.
That's different, yeah.
I think... Hang on, is there a picture from the actual set where it looks like... I'm just see if I can find one. There you go. That's what it looks like in the film.
Oh, nice.
I think that's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Something I really like about Marvel is the fact that their attempts at replicating what the suits look like is pretty faithful while doing their own thing with them. Say Cap's uniform, the one in the Avengers looks really awkward. The one in the Winter Soldier looks awesome, and the one in Age of Ultron is basically the perfect counterbalance between all of that. It is as close as you're going to get. So
doing right. Marvel anyway. DC was always just trying to follow in their footsteps.
Oh! Fucking it. Which is ironic because DC came out first.
Yeah.
Hang on, there's a timeline actually. I'll read it out to you.
Okay. Just a general timeline of everything that happened in the world.
No. Timeline of superhero films for the next 5 years. Have you seen this?
Probably not.
Okay, this is starting from 2014. No, I'm going to read out. 2014, Big Hero 6. I still have not seen that.
You should. It's great.
Okay. 2015, Avengers, Ant-Man, Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four film was fucking hilarious, by the way. It's terrible. 2016, Deadpool, Batman, Superman, Captain America. Oh, X-Men Apocalypse is coming out this year as well. Really looking forward to that. Doctor Strange, Suicide Squad, and Sinister Six. That has, by the way, that's not being filmed anymore, so we'll take that one off. That was the Sony film that they wanted to do as part of their Spider-Man thing.
Right.
2017, Wolverine 3, unknown movie, Marvel, Spider-Man, we now know. Oh, no, that's Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's Wolverine and Guardians.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four 2, that's not being made anymore, so we can ignore that. Guardians 2, then 4-3, Justice League. By the way, 4-3 comes out November 3rd, 2017. Justice League, November 17th. It is going to get slaughtered by Marvel.
Just a bit.
Female-led Spider-Man spin-off, that's not going to get made. Venom, it's not going to get made. Lego Batman, sounds pretty cool. I think that's a spin-off of the Lego film. There's Will Arnett as Batman.
Maybe. So
2018, The Flash. Unknown movie by Marvel, that's Black Panther. Unknown movie, that is Infinity War, I think. Unknown X-Men movie, I'm not too sure what that one is. I think that's Deadpool 2. Aquaman, then unknown movie, I think that's Captain Marvel. Amazing Spider-Man 3, which is now not being made. 2019, Justice League 2, Shazam, another Marvel film. 2020, Green Lantern, Cyborg. Oh, sorry, yeah, I've missed out a few here, look, at the bottom. Untitled Superman film, Untitled Batman, Justice League Dark, Sandman, Gambit, X-Force and 4-3. That is a huge list of... That is just superhero films as well.
It's pretty crazy.
That's
really.
pretty crazy. That's about... How many studios is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... That's 5 studios making about 30 superhero films.
Yeah.
That's not including TV shows. So Gotham, Daredevil,
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, Defenders, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Most Wanted, Damage Control, Supergirl. That's 8 shows already with their own seasons.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of content, really.
It is a good time to be a comic book fan, but I think it's like
going to come to an end eventually.
Like you said at the beginning, it's just saturation in it. I think we need at least 2 years off from superhero stuff. Do something new.
There's got to be something, but the same thing will happen again. It always will. And then it'll just, I don't know, the genre will probably come back in a few years.
Do you think, would you predict super films are going to get burned out of people's systems, do you reckon? Roughly, if you had to kind of get, it's taken since Iron Man, which is 7 years, for people to start saying it's getting a little bit tiresome.
Yeah.
So
maybe around the end of this sort of schedule we have now. So what was that, 2020?
About that, yeah.
Maybe a little more, but...
Can I just say, I know we're talking about getting burned out on it. I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl for when they announced that line of films, I was giddy as a schoolgirl. Seeing that line of my childhood icons getting
pretty great.
Made is cool. I don't care if they're terrible films. Just knowing that Marvel cares so much about making it fresh, making it new, making it interesting is refreshing to me. I have heard horror stories about working for Marvel though when they make their things. Alan Tyler, the director of 4-2, said he directed the film, was given a rough cut by Marvel. He said that wasn't the film I directed because it was totally not what he wanted. He just said, fuck it, it's their thing, and just kind of going along with it. Joss Whedon, on the other hand, who did the first Avengers and the second one, said he was so angry at what he went through doing Avengers 2, he will never ever direct a superhero film ever again. Did you hear the kerfuffle with that?
Remind me? It's been a while.
Like, basically, when he was filming Avengers 2, he wanted to do his own thing where it was dark, it was broody, and it was basically The Godfather 2 or The Empire Strikes Back of the Avengers films.
Right.
And this was when he was looked at to do with Infinity War as well. And he had a script, he liked it. Marvel said no, because it wasn't enough like the first one. which explains why, you say it is a lot like the first. And he basically, it was to and fro,
Yeah.
and it just got to the point where it was just like, he was just like, I want to make a film, but you're not letting me make the film that I know people are going to like.
Yeah.
It just went on and on like that, and the compromise had to be made. He wanted Spider-Man and Captain Marvel to be introduced. This was just when talks were starting about Spider-Man appearing, I think. And he said all this after, so he was informed that Spider-Man may be coming to Marvel, and he was like, I want to use Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You need to get it sorted, so I want to use Spider-Man. And they said no, because that's not part of the deal. You can't use Spider-Man in this. You can't use Captain Marvel. Apparently the rumour is because female superheroes need... They basically said they need their own movies before they can start getting... I think something was like, you can't just assume people are going to want this, even though Black Widow's awesome, Wonder Woman... There were a lot of awesome female superheroes.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones is basically... it done well, in my opinion. And he just wasn't allowed to do what he wanted, which, if you watch the first Avengers, that is him doing what he wanted.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we not have had that? I mean, quality-wise.
Yeah. They can do what they want, they're Marvel.
Something I found out about Avengers 3. Do you know what cameras they're using to film it?
Nope.
IMAX cameras for every single shot. Can you imagine how good that is going to look?
Interesting choice, yeah.
And Guardians 2 is being shot on an 8K camera. 8K! That's about what they use in actual space. So, while I think there was a thing Joss Whedon said about Age of Ultron, there's about 4 scenes that were cut, that he filmed, and were written and filmed, that he said are so good, if they'd been put into the film, it would have just made it so much better. He said, but they said something like, but I think he said it was just scenes of them talking and interacting with each other, which is what is sometimes the best part of those films. But Marvel wanted more action. They wanted more, basically toys to sell.
Probably, yeah.
I think he didn't want to use. I've heard rumours of him not wanting to use the Hulkbuster stuff. I heard a rumour. I don't think that's true, but Hulkbuster's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Do you know the joke about that? Why it's called Veronica?
Go on.
Hang on, what's it? Shit, what was it? No, I'm on. That's it. I remember Veronica because in the Archie comics, Veronica and Betty are the 2 girls that fight over Archie. So because Bruce Banner's love interest is called Betty, they called it Veronica as a joke about that. In universe reason, I don't know what the in universe reason is for calling it that, but for production wise, it's called that as a reference to the Archie comics. It took me way too long to try and fucking remember what that was, but it's a nice bit of trivia. And it's a really funny joke if you get it.
Yeah. Which most people watching it probably won't.
The really funny thing I don't get is why there hasn't been a Hulk movie.
That's sort of been left a bit, yeah.
Now, I've heard, again, whisperings of the fact that the reason the Hulk is in 4-3 is because Marvel 4 and Hulk are their lowest grossing characters. I mean, like, both the 4 films have made huge amounts of money, not as much as the other films. And this is kind of a way to kind of test the waters a little bit to see if people still want 4 films, and to see if people want a Hulk film. People want a Hulk film. Everyone wants a Hulk film.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo wants a Hulk film more than anybody. I'm kind of interested in that because it's a weird pairing. It's basically it's like having Black Widow and Iron Man in a story together. Just throwing 2 characters together could kind of be interesting.
Yeah, it's different.
I have to see how it's going to work because Hulk is just a giant green range monster. I don't know what kind of chemistry they're going to get out of that.
It's going to be pretty nuts.
I've also heard that apparently Hulk is going to speak. What do you think about that? Do you think it takes away what is lovable about him? The fact he can...
Depends how it's done.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think that it's an amazing idea, having him speak.
It's not needed.
Mostly because Lou Ferrigno's deaf, and have you heard what deaf people sound like when they talk?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it out loud, but no offence to Lou Ferrigno, don't make him speak, for God's sake. And now that I've offended deaf people...
Moving on to the blind.
Daredevil sucks because he can't beat people up because he's blind. Moving on to now mute people. I don't have to say anything to them. They can't say anything back as a comeback. The podcast got a bit surreal there for a second.
Where should we go now? We're done. I think we're done with movies. We've talked about movies for 45 minutes.
Could call this a podcast.
We could.
Yeah, I'm exhausted and running out of things to say.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed.
You're still here.
If you're still here, or if you flagged us for hateful speech, I apologise for what George said.
I will burn myself later.
Cigarettes. Ouch!
George.
If you have anything you want to ask us, maybe if we get enough questions, we can have a little Q&A session at the next podcast. We won't, but you know, it's nice to know.
We'll just make up the questions ourselves.
Oh no, that'd be really sad, wouldn't it?
All these people ask us these questions.
Harry-Clements asks...
George, definitely not Blundercast.
No, Guy-Rog Bumcock. Guy-Rog. Okay, we'll see you next time in another podcast.